What is up? What is shaking? My name is Adam Jacobi of GoIowaAwesome.com, and welcome to the Daily Review, where we catch you up on everything you need to know about the Iowa Hawkeyes today. We'll be breaking down Xavier Nwankpa's seismic commitment to the Hawkeyes, Iowa women's basketball losing to ISU, boo, and Bob Stoops' apparent abandonment of his Hawkeye fandom ahead of the Citrus Bowl. So let's get started. In today's top story, if you haven't been on any corner of Iowa internet whatsoever, number one safety in the nation, Xavier Nwankpa from Southeast Polk, committed to the Iowa Hawkeyes in a televised ceremony on Wednesday afternoon. Nwankpa chose the Hawkeyes over the Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and it marks, frankly, one of the biggest recruiting coups of Kirk Ferentz's entire career. X is, by 24/7, not by the composite, but by their own rating metrics, the 11th best player in the nation, all positions, which makes him, by their estimations, the top-rated Hawkeye recruit of the 24/7 era, barely beating out linebacker Kyle Bone Crusher Williams. I wonder how that one worked out. Not well. But X is different, though. He is soft-spoken. He is focused on football. Didn't even take the bait on an NIL question when somebody asked him after his commitment. And don't get me wrong, the NIL stuff will work out great for him if he wants. Probably better in Iowa City than Columbus or South Bend. But ultimately, he said that he was focused on football and his academics. And frankly, I believe him. As for the football, already just straight out of the car, he is an instant upgrade to the Hawkeye secondary, and that is a great secondary. He projects right now as the cash position, or perhaps even a safety position if the need might be, but they're focused right now on the cash position. Same position as Amani Hooker and now Dane Belton. And if he can turn into the best type of player he can be at that cash position, he will, appropriately enough, cash in the NFL. Right now, 24/7 projects him as a Minkah Fitzpatrick or a Derwin James type of prospect, which either of them, yes, please, and thank you. It is a position that the NFL is starting to value more and more as it becomes a almost exclusively passing-oriented offense. Although if the Hawkeyes or a future NFL team need him in run support, boy howdy, he can do that too. Of course, with any big splash in recruiting, there's always going to be some ripples. And the ripple that everybody is focused the most on right now is Nwankpa's teammate at Southeast Polk, 2023 offensive tackle prospect Caden Proctor. As much as we like to talk about Nwankpa being Kirk Ferentz's best recruit of his tenure, Proctor might be even better. Right now, he's projected as a top 10 recruit, 5-star across the board, all the way, number one tackle. And again, Iowa's on his list too. Of course, Nwankpa is already trying to pressure Proctor into committing as well, although being a class behind, that probably won't come to pass right now or anytime soon. And for all the whispers that there were about this being a package deal between the two, he threw a little bit of cold water on that. Speaking to the Register in November, Proctor said he's not going to, peer pressure me into going where he's going to go, and I'm definitely not going to make my decision off where he's going. I'm just being my own self and go through my own recruiting, and I'll go wherever I feel most at home. That being said, when he was asked again on Wednesday, he still wouldn't commit to any sort of a package deal. Why would he? But he did seem a little warmer to the idea. Again, talking to the Register, he said on Wednesday, if it works out that way, shoot, that'd be great. But I'm not going to base my decision off his. And ultimately, that's what you would expect from a consensus top 10 recruit for his recruiting class. Yes, I think he's going to have Iowa on his list of final schools. It would be a shock if he doesn't. You think about all of the comparisons to Tristan Wirfs that he's gotten, the hometown angle, the teammate angle. He's got a lot of friends that are in that locker room, and I got to say, he looks pretty good in black and gold. But he needs to keep all of his options on the table as well in order to make the best decision for him, as opposed to the best decision for someone who is in a recruiting class before him. That all said, get excited, Hawkeye fans, because in-state recruiting in Iowa is jumping up a notch, and the Hawkeyes are poised to cash in a way that any other team in the nation would love to. Unfortunately, the party on Wednesday was pretty short-lived, as later that evening, Iowa's women's basketball team lost at Iowa State 77-70 at raucous Hilton Coliseum. Caitlin Clark, obviously the star of the show for the Hawkeyes, finished with 26 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Now that did include shooting 10 for 26 from the field, including 4 for 12 from deep. Not terrible, not great either. And in a game like this, Iowa kind of needed great from Caitlin. Monica Zanotto, arguably the second best star on the team, struggled even more than Clark did, finished with 13 and 4 on the day, 5 assists though at least. But she did really struggle with ISU's defensive intensity. The Hawkeyes were down by as much as 12 in the first half, the second quarter in particular, pretty rough. They did rally to take the lead for a few possessions in the third quarter. But ultimately, the Cyclones had more transition crispness. Hawkeyes could not make their deep baskets late. They only shot 2 for 10 from deep in the fourth quarter, 6 for 19 overall. That's just not the way that you can close out a big road game against a top 15 opponent, and that's exactly what Iowa State had working for them. Now, unfortunately, this means the Hawkeyes are 1-2 since their long COVID layoff. And the good news is this was at least a more competitive basketball game than the road trip to Duke, in which they lost 79-64, and that one was never in doubt for the Blue Devils. So obviously a little bit more to build on here as they work back from their layoff. And the one win out of those 3 obviously felt pretty good. That was beating Michigan State 86-61. That was Lisa Blutter's 800th coaching win of her career. So not time to panic yet. Not yet. They're still rounding back into form. And again, we have seen some improvement from the Duke game. But if this keeps up into January, all of a sudden that preseason ranking is not going to be much of a concern for the Hawkeyes anymore. And finally, there's probably no more forceful advocate for Hawkeye football on national media than Bob Stoops, former Oklahoma head coach. He's been lining up the Fox Sports college football programming with frequent cheers of Go Hawks, appeared at the Penn State game, riled up the crowd, and was very, very welcome there. You could even make the case that he is the most beloved living football coach in Iowa City, including Kirk Ferentz. When was the last time anyone in Iowa City wanted to see Bob Stoops fired? I rest my case. But that being said, when it comes time for the Citrus Bowl on January 1, Bob Stoops said he will be rooting against the Hawkeyes. Is this a shocking heel turn? No. When speaking to Brett McMurphy of the Action Network, Brett said on Twitter, Citrus Bowl features Bob Stoops' alma mater, Iowa, against his brother Mark's Kentucky team. Stoops told me he would be pulling for Kentucky. Quote, blood is blood. Now, obviously, the two Stoops brothers have a lifelong familial respect for the Hawkeyes, going up to their father's relationship with the team, and assuredly, both of them are going to go back to being huge Hawkeye fans as soon as the game is over. But ultimately, Bob Stoops cares more about his own family than black and gold jerseys, and it's obviously kind of hard to fault him for that. But he better go back to Go Hawks by January 2 at the latest, or we're coming for you, Bob. We're coming. And that'll do it for today. Please remember to like and subscribe to the videos. It helps grow our community and keep these videos coming to you free of charge. Also, turn on your notifications, and if you really, really like what you see, feel free to share it with all your fellow Hawkeye friends and family members. With that, go Iowa Awesome, go Hawks.